All right, 10 personnel. Hello, my name is David Hess. I'm going to be giving you a demonstration on how to disassemble and assemble the M4 carbine. Pink mist. Pink mist is the result of a bullet going through the enemy's head, and through the optics, the brain matter in the blood creates what is known as pink mist. You cannot achieve pink mist unless you perform basic maintenance on your M4 carbine. In order to do that, you'll have to know how to disassemble and assemble the M4 carbine. So, before you pick up any weapon, you need to make sure it's clear. So to do that, you're going to check to make sure that the weapon is on safe, which this one is. All right, you're going to pull back the charging handle, look into the chamber. You're going to look for any live rounds, expended casing, or any obstructions. Currently, there are none. Okay, so you're going to release the charging handle and allow the bolt and bolt carrier to ride forward. Now the weapon is able to be disassembled. All right, you're going to push down the tack down pin, which is what's holding down the upper and lower receivers, and that's going to shotgun the weapon. All right, from there you can pull the charging handle, which is going to release the bolt and the bolt carrier assembly. All right, you can take the charging handle and place it down. You don't need any of it. You don't need it again for a while. Okay. For these purposes, I'm not going to take apart the sling, but all you're going to do is push down the pivot pin and pull that all the way out the other side, and now your upper receiver and lower receiver are disassembled. Now we're going to concentrate on the bolt carrier and the bolt. First thing you're going to do is remove the firing pin retaining pin, and you're going to turn the bolt receiver upside down, and the firing pin will fall out. All right, place those together in a group. You're going to take the cam pin, turn it 90 degrees, turn it upside down, and the cam pin will fall out. You place that down with the firing pin. All right, now your bolt can be removed from the bolt carrier. Easy enough. You place the bolt carrier down, you don't need to disassemble it any further. You pick up your firing pin, and you're going to remove the extractor. The extractor is on the top of the bolt. It's held in by a pin right here. You're going to just push it all the way through the side. And remove it out the other side. All right. The cam pin is the extractor pin is very small. So if you're going to do this outdoors, make sure you don't lose it. Don't drop it in the grass. All right. This is your extractor. You want to make sure when you remove it to be careful not to damage the spring. Okay. Place all of those in the major groups, and that is the bolt carrier and the bolt disassembled. Now you're going to take the buffer and the buffer spring, and remove that from the lower receiver. All right? And then the buffer is removed from the buffer spring. Today, that is as far as I'm going to disassemble the weapon. However, if you want to disassemble further, the buttstock, if you pull the handle out, you can also remove the buttstock. Okay? Now, for the user operator level, this is as far as you need to disassemble the M4. Now you can clean it. And what you want to do is clean any debris or carbon from the bolt and the bolt carrier, and make sure that it is lightly coated with oil before reassembly. Okay? Inside the top or the upper receiver, you want to get all inside the chamber to include the dirt star. All right? The star right there, which collects a lot of carbon when firing. For the lower receiver, you want to get inside the trigger mechanisms. Make sure you don't leave any foreign debris, or if you use Q-tips, some of the Q-tips tend to get stuck in there. All right, now your weapon is clean enough to create that pink mist that I was talking about. So we're going to reassemble the weapon. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to start backwards from where we ended before. So I'll take the buffer and the buffer spring and put that back into the lower receiver. Okay, that's done. I'm going to grab the bolt and the extractor, put that back together, and cinch it down with the extractor pin. All right, the bolt is put back together. You want to take the bolt carrier and put the bolt inside. All right. If you look through the top hole right here, and you make sure that it's all lined up, so when you slip the cam pin in, it fits in there nicely. So put the cam pin in. and turn it 90 degrees. So at that point, you can put the firing pin in. All right, place the firing pin in through what would essentially be the front of the bolt carrier and slide it all the way down. You'll take the firing pin, retaining pin, and slip it back into the bolt carrier on the big side, which is as it would fit in the weapon, the left side. Okay? Take the upper receiver, you're going to place the charging handle. The charging handle is going to have these little wings right here. It's going to replicate that inside of the chamber, all right, on the upper receiver. Place that in there and push it into a point where it balances by itself. Give the bolt carrier a little flick to extend the bolt and place it right back into the upper receiver. From there, you align the upper receiver and the lower receiver back, and you're going to push down the pivot pin and push down the tack down pin. All right, now your weapon is reassembled. To ensure that it's reassembled, you have to do a quick functions check. Okay, so you're going to squeeze the trigger. We already know that the weapon's unsafe. We're going to squeeze the trigger. It does not squeeze. So we're going to put it on semi-automatic, and we're going to squeeze the trigger and hold. The hammer drops. You're going to pull back on the charging handle and release. You're going to release the trigger, and you should hear a metallic click. And you do. Okay, you're going to place the weapon on burst. You're going to pull the trigger. The hammer drops. You're going to pull back on the charging handle 3 times. This burst will fire 3 rounds. And then you're going to release and you should hear a metallic click. We do. So we're going to squeeze the trigger again, let the hammer drop, try and put it on safe. It does not. Pull back on the charging handle. If the weapon goes on safe, you've properly assembled the M4 rifle. And it does. Okay? That is the end of my class. Does anyone have any questions about how to disassemble or assemble the M4 rifle? No? Thank you for your time. Scan 10 people. Okay? And cut video.